Good afternoon, everyone. We are having a meeting today, and it's now 1:15 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. So with that, we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, we'll be doing the call to the public. Okay. We are now going to be doing the call to the public to allow the public for any comments from the that they would like to make. Please note that issues presented during the call to the public that are not on the agenda cannot be acted on by the board or of supervisors. For items not on the agenda, individual supervisors may ask questions of the public but are prohibited by open meeting law from discussing or considering the item. Only the speaker who has been called upon is authorized to speak. To encourage and respect expressions of all views, we ask that there are no disruptions. Individuals are limited to 3 minutes for their comments. Clerk Daly will explain how the public can provide comments.
Thank you, Chair Begay. At this time, if there's anyone here in the room that would like to provide a public comment, except for the public hearing, Mr. Sassy's here for the public hearing. But if there's anyone else that would like to provide a public comment, you can fill out a comment form that's on the table by the door. Or since we have very few people, you can make your way up to the podium. You have 3 minutes to speak. If you've joined us virtually by Zoom, you can hit the raise hand icon that will appear if you hover towards the bottom of your screen and click on that hand. That will raise your hand and notify us that you would like to speak. If you've joined our meeting by telephone, you can hit *9 and that will raise your hand and notify us that you would like to speak. At this time, Chair Begay, we do not have any comment cards or hands raised.
We'll give it a minute. Thank you.
And we have no hands raised, Chair Begay.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and move on with the proclamation. Consideration possible action to approve a proclamation designating September 8, 2024 as National Public Lands Day. County Manager.
Thank you, Chair Begay, members of the board. I am pleased to announce Jay Smith, our Forest Restoration Director, and felt it most appropriate for Jay as staff to read this proclamation to you today. Thank you. Stand by, Jay.
We're going to have to go back and do roll call. That's what happens when you're rushing for two whole hours to a meeting. So, District 1.
District 1 is still here.
District 2.
Good afternoon, everyone. Geronimo Vasquez, Supervisor, District 2. Thank you.
District 3.
Good afternoon, everybody. Adam Hess, District 3. Glad to be here.
District 4, Judy B. Gay, Coconino County Board of Supervisors for District 4, current chair of the board. And District 5 is not going to be available today for the meeting. Thank you. So back to the proclamation. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chair Begay and members of the board. I'm Jay Smith. I'm the Forest Restoration Director for Coconino County Flood Control District, and it's my honor to read the proclamation today. Coconino County Proclamation designating September 28, 2024 as National Public Lands Day. Whereas in celebration of the 30th anniversary of National Public Lands Day on September 28th, Coconino County is recognizing our forests, high deserts, mountains, canyons, craters, mesas, valleys, meadows, trails, wetlands, and other irreplaceable resources, including sacred and cultural sites, as lands to protect for generations to come. And whereas Coconino County is home to the largest contiguous ponderosa pine forest in the world, 6 national monuments, 5 national forests, and 2 of the most visited national park areas in the U.S., Glen Canyon National Recreation Area and Grand Canyon National Park. And whereas Coconino County manages 6 county parks, 2 natural areas, and monitors the health of our forests that feature a multitude of natural, cultural, and historic amenities. And whereas outdoor recreation, including hiking, mountain biking, running, snow skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, water skiing, boating, sailing, kayaking, paddleboarding, camping, fishing, bird watching, and stargazing decrease stress and increase health. And whereas September 28th, all national parks will offer free admission for all to explore the diverse wildlife and unique flora of public lands. And whereas for the 28th year, the Peregrine Fund and the Bureau of Land Management are releasing 4 captive-bred California condors at Vermilion Cliffs National Monument in celebration of National Public Lands Day. And whereas National Public Lands Day is a reminder to spend time outdoor and volunteer to keep public lands protected, peaceful, and clean for all to enjoy. Now therefore, we do hereby designate September 28, 2024 as National Public Lands Day in Coconino County and call upon all residents to reflect on how public lands has given us the opportunity to learn, explore, relax, and focus on physical and mental health. Thank you for not making me read the new name for the Grand Canyon National Monument.
Give you that, we can do that for you.
No, I don't even want to try.
All right.
That's exactly what we were going to ask you. But thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
reading the block proclamation. And at this time, I will allow the Board of Supervisors, if they wish to speak to this proclamation
Would you like to take a motion first or speak first?
first, and then we'll take a
All
mo.
right, good.
Supervisor Horstman?
Thank you, and this is very exciting, especially, really in recognition that Coconino County is principally made up of public lands. We have approximately 14% private, and the remaining is public lands and also indigenous tribal lands. We are so blessed with the fact that last count with the Baj, Navja, Ita, Kukveni ancestral footprints of the Grand Canyon, that there are 5 national monuments in Coconino County. If there's a 6th, I'd love to know about it. And did just recently learn, even though I had a fight with Gregory on this, that all 5 of our national forests actually touch part of Coconino County. We really are a county that is very diverse, not only in landscapes and people, but we certainly are rich in our public lands. And so it's wonderful to be part of this proclamation, and I really appreciate our forester having read the proclamation on behalf of us here in Coconino County. And I know there's going to be a condor release on Saturday from Marble Canyon that's going to be very exciting. And I hope we all can get out and enjoy this beautiful fall weather that has started here in Coconino County and enjoy our public lands. It's certainly one of the reasons that we live here and something for us to celebrate. So thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Horstman. Any other? Supervisor Vasquez?
Thank you. Thank you, Jay, for the proclamation. As you're reading it, it made me think about just how important public lands are to our communities. How important it is to have access to these lands and how important it is to protect these lands from extraction that could potentially harm these beautiful landscapes that are protected through here. And, it's really a beautiful thing to be able to access those lands in that way, because there are other states you go that don't have so much public land. It's all private land, and so you need permission to be able to access some of this land. Whereas here in our state and in our county, we have so much public land that's available to all, and that's just really important, and it's important that we continue that conversation about what is the value of those public lands. And for us, it's recreation, it's outdoors, it's access, it's economy, it's tourism economy. And so, we just want to remember that as we advocate and protect these sacred lands that we have here in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Vasquez. Supervisor Head?
Thank you, Chair. it's important and it's unique for us to live here and have these lands where we can enjoy them. And it's our way of life. It slows us down and it brings us into what we consider home. And I've been all over the country, and I'm telling you, I looked and looked, and nothing has the same feeling or same vibe, I guess you would say, as what we live in. And I really enjoy this proclamation saying, hey, this is who we are, this is what we believe in, this is what we stand for, and this is important to us. So thank you, Jay, for reading that, because it did hit home, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Hess. I also just want to add that, we are very rich, and the open space out there is, something that we all cherish and enjoy when we're out there, and we're very fortunate and blessed with that. And we have a sacred peak that is very sacred to the indigenous people right here, and a lot of times, we pray to that a lot, as Native Americans, and so that, for protection and, just a lot of other things. So I just want to add that to the comments that the board members have made thus far. Thank you, Jay, for reading the proclamation. At this time, I will go ahead and ask for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Horstman.
I'd love to make the motion to approve a proclamation designated September 28th, 2024 as National Public Lands Day.
Motion made by Supervisor Horstman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Vasquez. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Do we want a photo op on this?
All right.
We have some board agenda items at this time. And all matters under consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by a single motion. Are there any items that the board members would like to consider separately?
Go and ask him, you don't believe me, huh? Is that what just happened here?
Okay, so I'm asking for a motion at this time for all the items that are listed. Supervisor Horstman.
At this time, I would make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Motion made by Supervisor Horstman. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Supervisor Vasquez. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. At this time, I would like to have a motion to resolve as a flood control district board of directors.
So moved.
Second.
A motion made by, seconded by Supervisor Horstman. Okay, there are, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. At this time, we do have some flood district, control district consent items. Do we have two of them? How does the board wish to do this?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
Second.
Motion made by Director Horseman and second by Director Vasquez. Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? Motion carries. May I have a motion to resolve as a Board of Supervisors?
So moved.
Motion made by Director Vasquez, and second by Director Hess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. We are now at the public hearing item number 17. A public hearing, consideration, possible recommendation of approval to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control regarding application number 303329 for a Series 010 beer and wine store liquor license for Clint Wells Gas and Go located at Highway 87, milepost 290, Happy Jack, Arizona 86024. Agent Nicholas Roy Sassy, Board of Clerk will present the item.
Thank you, Chair Begay and Supervisors. Good afternoon. And we do have the applicant, Mr. Sassy, here in the audience. So if you have any questions, he'll be here to answer them. Clint's Well Gas and Go is located in District 4 at Highway 87, milepost 290 in Happy Jack, Arizona. And this establishment has been there for about 50 years. And Mr. Sassy is the new owner of the establishment. And so that's why he's here today in front of you with the liquor license application. A notice and copy of the application was posted at the location for 20 days. It was posted by our sheriff's office on August 27th. And we have not received any comments or concerns from the community or staff regarding the application. All of our applications are reviewed by our sheriff's office, community development department, health department, as well as our risk manager, and they do not have any concerns regarding the application. The board is required to consider and make a recommendation on the application to the State Department of Liquor. The board does not issue the license, the State Department of Liquor license issues the license, but our board does make a recommendation knowing the community and receiving any comments regarding the application. Those are passed on to the state. So the board can offer a recommendation to approve, disapprove, or offer a no recommendation regarding the application. And we have 60 days to do this from the time that the application is received by the county. So again, that's all I have to say regarding the application. Mr. Stassi, the applicant, is here if there's any questions for him.
Are there any questions for Mr. Sassy by the board?
Nobody may want to just address so we can meet him.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you can go ahead and come up.
Come on up.
Sure, come on down.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just introduce yourself.
Oh,
and,
my name is
why we're
Nick
doing-
Sassy. I just purchased the gas station in Clintswell about 30 days ago, and we've been in operation. John over there is my manager, who's been managing the store for 42 years. You know, very excited to be in the community, and as I'm moving up here too as well from the valley into Happy Jack area too. So that's pretty much it.
Hi, John. I remember seeing you in the store. Supervisor Begay, yeah. Okay, okay, you can go sit
Okay.
down, yeah. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. The public hearing is open now. We will now take comments. When you are called on to speak, announce your name and place of residence. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please make sure that your comments are directed to the topic. Clerk Daly, please explain how those here in person and those present virtually can provide public comments.
Thank you, Chair Begay. At this time, if there is anyone in the room that would like to make a public comment regarding this public hearing item, you can make your way up to the podium. If you've joined us virtually by Zoom, you can hit the raise hand icon, and that will raise your hand and notify us that you would like to speak. If you've joined the meeting by telephone, you can hit *9, and that will raise your hand and notify us that you would like to speak. And at this time, Chair Begay, we do not have any hands raised and nobody at the podium.
One more minute.
And there are no hands raised, Chair Begay.
Thank you, Clerk Daly. I guess with no comments, now I would like to close the public hearing. And are there any board members that would like to make a comment at this time? Supervisor Horstman?
Yes, thank you. And appreciated meeting Roy Sassy and John, and I've stopped by on occasion as well. So thank you for joining us today, and also congratulations, Roy. At this point, Madam Chair, I would note that this has been properly posted for 20 days. There have been no comments received. There's been no concerns that have been raised, that it meets the requirements of ARS 4-201B. And with that, I would make a motion to recommend the approval of Arizona Department of Liquor License and Controls to Arizona Liquor License and Controls regarding application number 303329 for Series 010 beer and wine store liquor license for Clint Wells Well Gas and Go located on Highway 87, milepost number 290 in Happy Jack, Arizona.
Thank you. Before we take a vote, a motion, a second, we'll go ahead and do it. I'm asking for a second.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Hess. Okay. So we do have, are there any comments that the board members would like to make at this time? If not, then we'll go ahead and do those. Supervisor Hess?
Yeah, I'll make a quick comment. I've driven by that store. My grandparents lived in Payson, so I've driven by there for, I don't know, 40-some years now. Stopped in there a bunch. It is necessary, I think, for that area. I think it's a staple, and I think people count on it to get whatever they need. And I think being able to allow them to get everything they need is important to that area. So I think this is a good motion, and it's a good move, and I agree that we should move forward with that.
Thank you, Supervisor Hess. At this time, we do have a motion on the floor. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Congratulations. Next item, which is number 18, is an executive session item. May I have a motion to go into executive session at this time to receive legal advice and provide instruction to attorney regarding Cedar Crest, Flagstaff, LPV, Coconino County.
So moved.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Second.
second by Supervisor Hess. All in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Our executive session will be up in the second floor of this conference room, and we will return to the public once done with the executive session to address the remaining discussion items. We are executive session now.
for that, and that the sponsorship that has been provided through the manager's office for a booth, as well as making sure that there are the opportunity for each of you to do a radio spot, as well as many of our departments and department directors for on that date, also on Thursday, the 17th. And then the parade, correct.
Absolutely, that our supervisors, our Navajo speaking board members certainly have precedent on that day, and then we will fill up, so to speak, the balance of the radio time with others of us in the county that would like to be a part of that, so.
And I know last year, many departments were involved, or department staff that also did interviews and shared information about programs and other things. Mhm.
And elected officials that
Yeah.
would like to, yeah, so. We've had a lot of interest from several employees as well that want to be part of the parade. And really, the Kids' Day on Thursday is, it's a pretty great event, and people really like to be there.
And then on Saturday is going to be the parade, and I know Christopher had his hand up. Is Christopher, can he?
Yes, he just couldn't hear. He can hear now.
Okay. Thank you for that, Vice Chair. We'll make sure we get a note on the calendar as well. And then what I was going, the parade for the Western Navajo Fair Parade is on Saturday, and I know that there is an entry from Public Works and many staff members that will be participating in that parade as well. Correct. So we've got a lot of conflicts. Yeah. Yeah. So. All right. And then October 22nd, we have a regular session starting at 10 a.m., a consent and action, the proclamation for green light for veterans from facilities, another proclamation for Native American Heritage Month from HR, and a franchise agreement, and then an update on the short-term rental ordinance that Jay and Mark, is it Mark? Yes, are going to be bringing forward. And so would look to, if there are some specific things that you're interested in with respect to those updates that you would like to make sure that they bring forward, I would ask that you communicate that with either myself or directly with Jay so that we can make sure that that gets included in their update. And then there's also going to be an HHS program overview. This was pushed from the October 1st meeting due to NCRS being here. And this was to provide an opportunity for HHS to give an update, and also for the public with respect to the things that are being provided by HHS and how that also is encompassed in our Prop 482 expenditure limit as well. And then time on the calendar for roundtable and expenditure limit. And then just rounding out the rest of October, we've got the Navajo Bridge Star Party. That is October 25th through 26th. Quorum is posted. October 28th through the 30th is the Economic Summit and Outdoor Recreation Summit in Page. And then October 31st through November 2nd is the Page Lake Powell Balloon Regatta. Okay. On the 26th. All right. Thank you. Great. Any others on that piece, please? Oh, okay, going. Okay, so we'll post it. So Lindsay, yeah, we'll make sure we get a quorum posted for that. And then, of course, Election Day on November 5th. We will be having, I know, the big day. Also, Andy's birthday, I believe, right? Okay, I was going to say, let's make sure it's actually, yeah. Big day, it's Andy's birthday. And it's a big birthday for Andy, so yes, it is a big day. Yeah. And then on November 6th, the Discover Flagstaff Annual Partner Luncheon at HCCC. And then November 7th, the Economic Outlook Conference at NAU. And I know that Jen was just getting information out about that and getting those tables reserved, so we'll plan that in there. It's actually the topic is the housing and housing crisis is what the headliner topic is for discussion. And then I think, unless you want me to continue through November, I think I'll stop there because there's a lot happening in the next 45 or so days.
Any comments for the board, from the board? There being none, I guess we'll go ahead and, we skipped you. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we are gifted with Gregory Nelson's presence this afternoon to discuss legislative affairs.
Yes, thank you, County Manager, Deputy Managers, Chair Begay, Vice Chair Horstman, and board members. Pleasure to be here with you today. We'll start on the federal side, as you may be following the media. Speaker Johnson's attempt at a 6-month continuing resolution last week failed 202 to 220 in the House. However, in speaking with Mr. Bob Holmes, who represents you in DC, he expects Congress to pass a clean continuing resolution to keep the government funded through December 20th, 2024. We'll be monitoring this very closely. As you know, we have 6 days until the end of the federal fiscal year, upon which if a CR or budget's not passed, there would be a shutdown. At this point, Bob's very optimistic that they'll get a 3-month CR into the lame duck session, leaving a few days before Christmas to make a push for an FY25 omnibus package during the lame duck. Obviously, all of this is contingent upon how the election plays out and the balance of power in Washington. Some of our CDS requests may end up in parts of the omnibus, but we'll probably not have clarity until Congress returns. Congress will work this week and then leave DC until after the election and return on November 11th. So Speaker Johnson today insisted there will not be a Christmas omnibus, and that is likely the case if Republicans keep control of the House, as Johnson will vie to keep his speakership. If Democrats win control, it is unclear effect what that'll have on his decision-making, but we're monitoring. In terms of the E-rate program, which funds libraries and schools' broadband connections and internet access, well, we were in Washington with Superintendent Mango Pageant. We learned about a U.S. Court of Appeals Fifth Circuit Court ruling that ruled 9-7 that the FCC's universal service fees are a misbegotten tax that violates the Constitution. This suit was brought by Consumers Research, a nonprofit that fights quote-unquote woke corporations. The ruling puts in jeopardy the E-rate program, as the USF was universal service fee was upheld in 3 previous court cases, but now with the Fifth Circuit Court ruling, it'll go to the Supreme Court, and they're expected to rule on this within a few weeks. Basically, the gist is that the E-rate program through the universal service fee, the argument is that right now it's a user fee. The plaintiff that was bringing the suit is saying is that it's a tax and that Congress has not authorized the FCC with taxation authority. So if that ruling is upheld by the Supreme Court that finds that the fee is indeed a tax, then we would need to mobilize quickly in terms of how we advocate on this program, and we're carefully monitoring that. Mary Knight is in the loop on this. We're collaborating with IT. Superintendent Mango Pageant is aware. And this week we attended the NACO Telecoms meeting where they updated the NACO membership on its status and the likelihood that it'll be heard by the Supreme Court soon. I can give a recap of the meetings in DC. I know I went very quickly last week, but I don't want to burden you with that if that's something that's not, it's at the pleasure of the board. So I'll defer to the board for direction on that.
Board members? I think,
Okay, thank you. I'll proceed then to move on.
we're okay. Are you okay? You're yawning? Okay, I guess not.
Awesome. Thank you, Chair Begay and board members. In terms of secure rural schools, as you know, we were in DC 2 weeks ago working on this with Supervisor Horstman. There hasn't been much movement in September. The Senate added one new co-sponsor, Senator Bennett from Colorado, and the House added two, Panetta from California and Republican Newhouse from Washington. So we're up to 31 co-sponsors in the Senate, 80 House sponsors. Both Arizona's U.S. senators are co-sponsors, but only one member of the Arizona House delegation is on SRS right now, and that's Representative Gallego. This week, we're meeting with Chair Begay in Public Works and Deputy Assistant Secretary Evan Wessel with the Intergovernmental Affairs Office with the Department of Transportation to discuss the county's federal transportation funding priorities. They reached out to the chair's office to schedule this. They've historically met with Supervisor Vasquez when he was chair. We met with Mr. Wessel in DC, as you remember, Mr. Vasquez. So they did reach out to the chair, and so we're working with Public Works to pull together an update and meet with Mr. Wessel this week with Chair Begay. And then in terms of federal update and some positive news, yesterday the Department of Justice announced that Coconino County was awarded $550,000 for the Coconino Mental Health Court Program. And Congressman Stanton's Chief of Staff, Tracy Sutton, notified us through Bob and Anna, and this is a mental health grant that'll help with some of our court funding programs, and it's a significant award, and just wanted to highlight the good news that we received yesterday through Bob Holmes and Anna Ma. And then with that, I'm happy to answer any questions before turning over to the state.
Any questions by the board? No.
Excellent. So on the state side, JLBC just released its revenue update for August 2024. General fund revenues were 33 million above the enacted budget revenue forecast. This continues 3 consecutive months of good revenue numbers in terms of improvement in the collections over the forecast. The gains were mostly in the sales tax and insurance premium tax categories. The individual income and corporate income tax categories did have moderate losses during the month. And so year to date through August, excluding the urban revenue sharing, FY25 general fund revenues are 10.9% above FY24 and 119 million above the enacted budget forecast. So the fiscal environment is looking better than it did last year at this time. We have been informed, though, by the governor's office and with Karen that the departments at the state level are being told to manage their budgets as if they're in a constrained revenue situation. So that's very similar to last year in terms of how they were told by the executive to plan for their budgeting. We've scheduled a meeting with the governor's office on September 30th for on the Pinyon Plain Mine. Supervisor Fowler and Vice Chair Horstman will be attending that meeting. That was at the request of many months of advocacy. Karen was able to get that finally on their calendar. We're meeting with a wide diversity of governor's office staff that will be at the meeting, including Will Green, the deputy legislative director, and the legislative director at the governor's office. That is October 14th. I do not believe that should be September 30th. I will not be in Phoenix on September 30th. It's a virtual meeting. Yes, it's a Zoom meeting. They requested a virtual meeting. And then in October, we've requested a meeting with Legislative District 1 Representative Bliss as it relates to the homeowners insurance crisis. In terms of that meeting, the reason why we're meeting with Representative Bliss is Mary Mallory, your counterpart in Yavapai County, has been working with Representative Bliss on this issue. She's become engaged and is one of the spearhead leaders down at the Capitol on the issue, and that's scheduled on October 14th. Karen Cruz has sent an invite out to Vice Chair Horstman as LPC rep to attend that meeting as well. And that is also virtual. We're trying to keep the traveling to a minimum, recognizing that October is very busy with everyone from the CSA Summit to, I believe, the Mother Buffalo Tribal Reentry to the Transportation Summit, and then some other things that are occurring as we just saw on the planning calendar. So lots going on there. We're preparing for the CSA Summit right now, and so we'll be getting binders out by the end of the week. We've reached out to for feedback to our departments. We've evaluated the proposals, and then we're looking to get those talking points and binders out to you by the end of the week. And so we hope we'll have a productive summit down in Pinal County at Maricopa, in the city of Maricopa at the Auction Casino. We're looking forward to Pinal hosting us there and having some very good discussions on many items that you saw previewed last week at the CSA Board of Directors meeting. Karen is also engaging the governor's office. She has coffee with Director Zyla tomorrow on our behalf as it relates to pathways funding and DFFM wildfire emergency response funding. We met with Will Green for an update on the the Inflation Reduction Act funding for home efficiency measures and DFFM funding. And so Will connected us with Ken Owens, the energy program manager, and staff is meeting with him tomorrow to get information about the rollout of how these federal funds will be available and operationalized across the state for your constituency. And we'll make sure to get that information over to you so you can share with your social media channels and constituency as it relates to some of this federal money that's coming through the state of Arizona to support energy efficiency upgrades and housing. And then we're also working with community development on compliance with HB 2210, which was the agency renewal omnibus during the budget negotiations. And as part of that, there are certain reporting requirements for community development that include the average time from submission of initial building permit to certification of occupancy, submission of a zoning application to zoning approval, submission of a final plat to recordation of the final plat. And so those numbers and data points are required now in statute through that agency omnibus renewal. This past week, staff attended an ACO board meeting to review and understand ACO's legislative agenda. They'll be voting on that in October. And so we'll be reaching out to our constitutional officers about their elected officials, about their positions on ACO's legislative agenda as it relates to impacts to potential county operations. And then rounding out, just to finish up, RTAC, as I mentioned, the Transportation Summit is coming up in October. Governor Hobbs and Assistant Secretary Teller will be there. There's uncertainty this year about who will run the RTAC bill for the next legislative session. And that's, of course, driven by the election. The Arizona House will have a new speaker and a new chair of Transportation Committee, and with Representative Toma and Cook no longer there, it'll be up to until November as RTAC decides who they'll target to run that bill. And so that's an important bill for the county. We'll have our project through Metro Plan in there for the Burris Lane roundabout appropriation request. So we're tracking that carefully, and staff is participating in these meetings as we have availability. And so with that, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No.
Thank you, Chair Begay and board members.
Thank you. Okay, we have next, we have discussion and update from county manager regarding possible community regional administrative matters, including update educational communication efforts related to problem 482.
Thank you, Chair Begay, members of the board. Erica Philpott's going to lead us through this discussion, and thank you, Gregory, for that update. I'm glad you could join us this afternoon.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Chair Begay and members of the board. I wanted to make you aware that the Sheriff's Office has recently received word that DEMA approved an award to them based on FY24 expenses that had been submitted to them for reimbursement. And so the sheriff's office will be submitting an agenda item to accept the funds. And the sheriff will be accepting those funds and bringing that forward to the board for ratification and the approval of signatures. So the exact amount will be shared in an item, but that is a DEMA award that went to the sheriff's office for FY24 expenses reimbursement. And then also I wanted to take a moment to go over some of the Prop 482 presentations that are coming up. So this evening, there is a presentation at 5:30 at the Leaf Building for the CERT group, and I believe Vice Chair Horseman will be there. Tomorrow is the Public Works Open House to discuss 482 at the Coconino County Public Works Yard, and that starts at 4:30. On Thursday, there is the open house in conjunction with the city and Mountain Line, and that will be at the Aquaplex lobby from 5 to 7. And then next Wednesday, the 2nd, will be the 482 open house at Health and Human Services. So those are 4 of the 482 informational events that we have coming up on the schedule.
Thank you, Erica and Chair Begay, members of the board. I'd also like to note some of us will be attending the Landfill Road ribbon cutting tomorrow. That's a significant project. It's been a great partnership between the city of Flagstaff and Coconino County that we began many years ago. So it's great to see that come to fruition as a community benefit. And also like to note, while some of us are there, our elected officials group will be meeting tomorrow, and Erica will be joining that discussion. We're really making an attempt from a manager's office perspective to get all of us together with our elected officials, county attorney, treasurer, assessor, superintendent of schools, recorder, sheriff, et cetera. So that's, and clerk of Superior Court. So that's been a good group just to talk about leadership and moving forward and how we're working together. So that will be happening tomorrow as well. I think we also are meeting with the treasurer tomorrow, right, Erica? And we'll be talking about future financial conversations and et cetera. So thank you.
Are there any questions by the board? Wow, no questions today. Okay, so moving on, we have the round table. Okay, do you guys have any round table items?
All right. I recently went to Houston, Texas last week for an NALEO emergency preparedness response, emergency response preparedness, excuse me, conference. And it was very interesting to hear about some of the updates of how AI is being used to model. Made me think of the modeling techniques that we've used with the water and the flooding in the last couple of years. And I don't think AI was that big of a deal back then in terms of how it is being used now. And so I'm curious, and I would pose the question to the staff. I'm just curious how we are using AI in that process here locally. And if not, are there plans to in the future? The second thing that really stuck out with me with this conference, and one of the presentations, they talked about the number of billion-dollar events over the last 25 years. And they really calculated it in the last 20 years and then the last 5 years. And they were average of maybe nationally about 5 events a year over that span of time. And now we're averaging 20 over the 5-year span. And so it's kind of scary, the thought of just how it's increasing. A lot of it has to do with flooding, and we're in Houston, so a lot of the examples were the hurricanes and the flooding, the sheriff's response during Harvey, just the continuous increase in natural disasters that communities are dealing with, and having to kind of calculate, embrace how as county governments we deal with that. The one thing that was really cool that I got to contribute to the event that was something that people hadn't seen were the call center cards that we gave out during the flooding with the QR codes for the different websites. I didn't take enough to hand out a whole bunch, but I did take them to key folks and presenters and just kind of show what we're doing. And it was something that kind of surprised folks. So it was something that Coconino County contributed to that body of knowledge. And so it was a good trip. I'm glad I went. It was quick, left Wednesday morning, back Friday night, but it was definitely worth it. And so we'll be, as more information comes out, and as I'll be having conversations with our emergency management team and seeing how we can implement those efforts. So thank you.
Supervisor Vasquez. Supervisor Horstman?
Yes, I'll try to be brief as well. As you have heard from Gregory, we did participate in the National Association of County Officials PILT fly-in, met with over 20 representatives, senators, and agency staff members on SRS, secure rural schools, as well as payment in lieu of taxes. And we were joined by our superintendent of schools, Cheryl Mangle-Padgett, which was a great addition for our SRS lobbying efforts back there. And we did get to meet also with Undersecretary Homer Wilkes, talk about forest restoration and some of the projects we have here in Coconino County and the importance that they continue to fund us here in the Coconino and Kaibab so that we can get the job done here for forest restoration. We will see, but it sounds like there is a movement afoot to try to continue to prioritize our forefront landscapes up here. And as part of it back there was the very first National Public Lands Center meeting. As you know, Coconino County went all in, and we are a member of the National Public Lands Center. Every county except for one in Arizona is part of that, and we are still lobbying to get the rest of the nation counties to also join us with that. We had a great opportunity. I was able to sit on one of the panels to talk about the importance of National Public Land Center and how it will increase our profile within the policy making and decision makers in the country. So it was, I think, a very good meeting, and we need to continue to support the Public Land Center. And it is Public Land Center Week, so we should definitely do that. So anyway, also was able to participate in the Center for the Arts 40th anniversary, and on behalf of the board was able to read the proclamation where we recognize the long partnership between Coconino County and the Center for the Arts, and look forward to their next 40 years of creativity and culture and really advancing our creative and science communities here in Coconino County. Was also able to attend the Museum of Northern Arizona's birthday party. That was their 96th birthday party, and that was lots of fun to be there in recognition of all they have done for our community as well. And of course, some of us were able to participate in Pickin' in the Pines, and Coconino County is one of the sponsors for Pickin' in the Pines, and it was certainly well attended, incredible music. I remember when this event started some 20 years ago, I think there was 200 or 300 of us, and that was it. And now I can tell you the amphitheater is absolutely filled, and it brings people into Coconino County from really all over the state and really all over the country. And the performers all say that really this is one of their very favorite festivals that they get to play at. So again, it's an example of what we can do and what we have done with our amphitheater, and look forward to more of these types of festivals there. Also was able to attend and honor a former supervisor, Liz Archuleta, who, as we all know, has been named as a regent here on the Board of Regents. And you guys go get them. Thank you. And it was really wonderful to honor her. And I see that the NAU president is also having an event for the 3 regions, 2 student regents, and our former supervisor Archuleta. I'm not going to be able to go, but I hope people from our county will be able to be there and honor her. And that's coming up this week. And then, let me see here, I was down in Phoenix and was sworn in by the governor's office, and is her a representative on the Water Investment Finance Authority, Water Authority down there at in Phoenix. On behalf of all of the state of Arizona, water is absolutely our future, and the need for a sustainable water future is going to make all the difference on whether we grow and how we exist as a state. And so I'm very excited to join that board. And then last but not least, we got to spend a glorious fall morning with so many of our staff members and honoring our staff members in the National Public Service Awards. And I was there with my colleagues, and it was really a wonderful morning. And congratulations to all of our staff. You know, as we always say, public service is what we do, and they really exemplify what that public service and what we're able to do here for our community. So big thank you for them for all they do. And Madam Chair, that's it.
Okay, I just have a couple items I want to mention. It was really good to meet with the city the other night. Oh, gosh, you know, it was something that we all wished for and wanted, you know, that the city and the county get together and discuss items. And so we had some presentations that were done there. And so the area plan was discussed. And then, of course, you know, we had a chance to talk about the expenditure limit and just kind of sharing information with the city and the county. So just want to say I greatly appreciate, you know, our efforts together, and we can do a lot, you know, to get our people to where they need to be as far as services, and, you know, even helping one another to do plans. And, you know, the highlight of that, I think, was where the fire department, the Park Service did their presentation. That was a very good presentation. So I just want to say thank you. And then I also went to Tucson to attend the Mother Buffalo Summit regarding reentry after a person that has been incarcerated leaves from here. You know, they face many challenges, and some of them is housing, and some of them's, you know, just even getting their birth certificates or just anything, you know, driver's license. So we had a lot of people that were in attendance that worked with reentry, but they never went beyond as to really, really go out and help them. We had our Pathways representatives there from the county, and, you know, we just shared, you know, what we could with them. But again, you know, it's a whole effort. And we even had the Navajo Nation Council, Eugenia Charles Newton there, you know, she was the guest speaker, and she really told us that, you know, we haven't really thought about that, you know, on Navajo, and we don't have the numbers, you know, on certain things. So it's going to take some time, but, you know, we need to start doing data-driven activities and see how we can get things going. So that was a very good collaboration, you know, on our part as far as the county, the Navajo Nation, and then also the Mother Buffalo effort. So there's a lot of people that are really, really getting involved. They have their meetings, and I encourage, you know, other staff, even, you know, my colleagues here, to attend just to, you know, provide some input. But, you know, we need to help everybody. And then I attended the Constitution Day at NAU and at Ashurst Building, but we really just were there to vote, discuss voting and elections in Arizona. They identified the opportunities and sparked individual and communities' actions to ensure that Arizona's voting and election systems best support the needs of Arizona and its communities. So that was the main focus of all the speeches that were done, and it was co-sponsored by a lot of people like Clean Elections, ASNAU, the county was there, APS, SRP, and others were there to, you know, make this happen. So again, this was a good effort and a lot of students showed up, and we just talked about them that they should, if they're not registered, they should register and, get their voices heard out there too. So that was the three main events that I had gone to. So with that, just want to say that's the end of my report, the highlight. Okay, I guess we're down to the end of the meeting here. So I guess if there aren't any comments made by the board, then we'll just go ahead and adjourn this meeting. The meeting is adjourned at 3 o'clock.